Join me in the pledge and salute the Mexican flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, see a symbol of perfect friendship among United cultures.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Primrose?
Here.
Mr. Box?
Here.
Ms. Gutierrez?
Here.
Mr. Lafferty?
Here.
Ms. Stevenson?
All right, next is approval of the agenda. Has everybody had a chance to look at that? Is there any additions or deletions of the agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I move we approve the agenda.
A second.
A motion and second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Box?
Yes.
Ms. Gutierrez?
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty?
Yes.
Mr. Primrose?
Yes. Comments? Do we have anybody ask for comments?
No.
Next will be approval of the minutes for a regular meeting in July 22nd, 23rd. Everybody have a chance to review those. Any additions or deletions?
I make a motion, we approve the minutes from our July 23rd meeting.
Second.
The motion second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Box?
Yes.
Ms. Gutierrez?
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty?
Yes.
Mr. Primrose?
Yes. Next is chairman's report. The only thing I have is I did attend the webinar for the call, the federal government national call to action to all of the universities, presidents and boards, and I know you sent that to us, and it's a list of questions.
Thank you.
They have 7 questions for all of the universities and higher education to answer. And some of them don't pertain to everybody, but they indicated that it wouldn't affect the funding or anything if we didn't answer them, but they would really like everybody to answer that by the end of the fiscal year. And I know classes just started and it's been very busy, but even though some of this is not related to the college, maybe we could answer them. Have you had a chance to look at the questions?
I looked over it, yeah, when they first sent that out, and I haven't had a chance yet, but I'm gonna touch base with the higher ed department and NIMIC just to kind of get a sense for how they're going to respond to that. But we'll do something to meet
Well,
that. And we can even discuss it,
yeah,
when we kind of get something put together.
sometime. I think that would be good if we kept on top of that and got everybody's opinion. They said it's not going to be. You won't have. They won't hold anything against us, but the federal government might do that.
That's what they said.
And that's all I have. We can look at that later. Next is President's report. Dr. Moss.
So y'all have my report. Just maybe one or two updates. Mr. Martinez submitted more information on our capital outlay requests. Auditors were here last week, and you always have this fraud conversation with the auditor, toward the end of their visit. And after that, I asked Ms. Trujillo, I said, I feel like we haven't made, this one has really drug out and, hasn't went as quickly as the others. But I said, what I want to know from you is, do you still feel like we're making progress? And she was very adamant and said, absolutely. And so I feel better about that. It's I would have liked to have the 25 audit done sooner. I definitely want to get the 26 audit done before the March 31st deadline. But I feel better about that. When they came, I think everybody that was asked for additional information was able to find it fairly quickly. So when they left, I think it was going well. Miss Arias had to upload some more stuff over the weekend and earlier this week, but I think it went well. Housing, well, that's on. I'll talk about that a little bit later. Let's see what other updates. Feel like the start of school has been good. I think you'll see in an enrollment report that Mr. McVeigh put together, our corrections enrollment is still, it's exceeding, I would say by far what we had last fall. I'm looking for Ms. Gonzalez. I don't think that's an overstatement.
We currently have 393 students enrolled, and we have approximately 30 more that we're still processing.
Yeah.
So we're going to be right at about what we were for this spring.
Yeah.
But definitely over fall.
Yeah. So that big increase we saw in the spring has carried over into the summer because we had over 200 correction students in the summer, and then now we're going to probably go over that 400 mark again. And that's awesome. Our goal still, though, is how do we get more kids on our main campus? And I think it just seemed, sometimes you get a sense the first week, you see a few more students on campus, you see fuller classes. Are we going to have a big jump? No, but I think we are going to see a large increase in our dual enrollment. And then again, the focus still is going to have to be on older students on campus. Let's see, I know I had a couple other things I was going to mention. RPSP, just kind of a heads up, that will be something that will be coming up in the board packet in September. RPSPs, we didn't get anything last year. The year before, we got some for our nursing program. We typically submit 2 to 3 different things. We're really trying to just focus on 1 or 2 this year. I think the focus of LFC is to see something tied to mental health. And so Mr. McVeigh's been working on something involving that, student support, but we'll get that out soon enough for you to look over before the next board meeting. I'll go ahead and talk about the year-to-date report right now. I wasn't going to hand that out. It's for the end of July, but we with the change for the new year, auditors coming in last week, the revenues, we don't even have the state appropriation posted, so that could be pulled yet. I think we will have all that for the end of the October report. But I didn't want to not give it to you and you think, what am I trying to hide? A couple things that you would note on that. One, yes, we don't have any state appropriation posted on there yet. We also have the $270,000 insurance. That's a one-time per year expense. And so right now it shows we're really negative, but we're not that far back. And actually some of our expenses are running a little bit, are running under where they should. That's all I can think of right now. But if anybody has any questions.
Any questions for Dr. Moss on this report? If not, we'll move on to the HED quarterly financial report. We still got all no's for the fourth quarter, which is great. Any questions on the financial report for HED? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion, we approve the NMHED quarterly financial report.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Box,
Yes.
Ms. Gutierrez,
Yes.
Mr. Lee,
Bless
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson,
Yes.
Mr. Kermo.
you. Yes. Next was our housing update.
So I'll kind of start. We let's see. I guess probably haven't given you all a great update over the last month. Met with Ms. Kaufman, Mr. Lafferty, Mr. Wiggle, Mr. Bittigan, Mark, and I think that was it, but we talked about kind of where we were at. Mark has the appraisal started. I think he said he was started, but he was trying to get an update on where he's at on that. He's appraising property being donated from the school and the property that potentially be donated from Plateau. And then we'll get that information out as quickly as we can. I can't remember. I think it's been since the last meeting. Ms. Kaufman and Mark and I and Josh met with the higher ed department, Mr. Honey, to talk about their requirements for student housing. That was a little bit disheartening, or it just kind of added maybe some roadblocks. He said definitely we would avoid some issues if property was donated to the foundation. And so I think that's the direction we're looking with the Plateau property. I'm trying to think of everything that I have. I visited with Mr. Honey suggested a couple different schools. Luna, because they received $2.5 million from State Board of Finance in emergency funding for housing. And so I visited with President Linder. She did not give a very rosy picture of where their housing is at. They have the funds, they have a plan, but they could not get the higher ed department to approve it or let them move forward. And they're kind of in a stuck position right now. I don't know all the details or what's causing that, but the Capital Outlay Committee expressed to her that one, they didn't think that Luna was capable of managing housing, and two, there were comments about they'd rather see something brick and mortar as opposed to the pre-manufactured units or mobile units or whatever. So again, we're hoping that some of that will be removed with the fact that we have an outside donor, and if it goes through the foundation, but we're still going to have to go through the higher ed department to get approval. I was also referred to Northern New Mexico College, who had some kind of agreement with an outside company. They don't have housing on campus, and so they were doing something for their athletes. But I've visited with I've reached out to two different people with Northern, and I haven't gotten any answers yet on what they were doing. So I feel like I'm missing some things. But we're kind of, I also visited with Ms. Hernandez with the school district. Her name was mentioned as somebody good at writing grants. Doesn't really have a lot of experience in that, but the grant that Ms. Kaufman brought from Workforce Solutions, it may be something that would be even stronger with work from the college and the school district combined, but we're going to look at that and see what we can do with that. So that's kind of where we're at on housing. Haven't had any contact with Mr. Assad. Last I checked, it didn't look like anything had been done on that building yet, but he's been out for a while, so that's not necessarily unexpected.
So we are still looking at the school donating this property to the college, and then Plateau donated to the foundation.
Right. So, and that question came up, what about the school district donating it to the foundation? I reached out to our attorney, who he said I can't advise the school district because he's our attorney, but he said that that public entity could not donate it to a private entity, which he classified as the 501c3 as one of those. He said unless there was some kind of compensation involved, but he said that would have to match like the fair market value of the property. Now I followed that up visiting with Ms. Trujillo, and she echoed basically the same words and said, you can't go, they could not donate it directly to the foundation. So that's kind of where I'm at on that. But yes, we're still moving forward. As soon as we get that appraisal, then we'll know the proper paperwork to fill out for transfer from the public school district.
Is there any questions on the housing update?
Or Mr. Lafferty, any additional information I'm missing?
No, I think you hit the highlights. I'll ask again that the school district is going to give us give the school the property on this side of 11. That's the goal, right? So right now, I'm going to say again, I think we need a housing plan. So Luna got $2.1 million to do housing, and they're stalemate. If housing is a priority for us, then I think I'd like to see us make an effort to move a housing plan forward other than one step at a time. They're gonna give us the property, and then we're gonna determine if we really need housing. We haven't done any kind of study to determine whether we have enough student base to actually chase that. And if we're gonna chase it, you're trying to get through an audit. We're trying to get a financial report that reads right. That's somewhat a priority. I understand that. But at the same time, I think we as a board need to decide, are we gonna move forward with housing? At what level? And if we are, that there be a plan put in place to do it, even though you're busy and staff's busy. It doesn't do much good to say we're moving forward with housing unless we have more than communications with other schools. So I'd like to see that go forward. Plateau has no problem, from what I understand, talking to their CEO, no problem donating the other side of 11th Street to the foundation. We have an application that needs to be filled out. That process will start, I'm guessing, but I'm still not sure of the lead on that. In other words, whether the foundation is taking the lead on that or whether the school's taking the lead on that. We don't want to end up with mud in our eye with Plateau because we really don't know who's pushing the project.
Yeah, and I would also add the foundation did vote last week to accept, because at that point we didn't know for sure if they could donate to the foundation or school could donate to the foundation, or, but they voted that they would be willing to accept, that's not the exact words, to accept the donation of property from either Plateau or
Both of them,
so.
yeah. They actually approved both of them.
Yeah, yeah.
But they found out they couldn't
Right,
receive one.
but we can do the other side if the project moves forward over there. My point would be, like a question today was, Plateau would like to know who our attorney is that will review the contract. And Dr. Moss's question was, foundation attorney or school attorney? Well, I mean, we need to determine which way it's gonna go, and then make sure that it doesn't stumble before it gets there. So.
And that's a conversation I need to have with Mr. Bittigan and the foundation is, and the only reason I brought that up is because when I first came in, the foundation had its own, well, I guess at the time we were represented by Warren Frost too. Since that time, we've switched our counsel, and we had our attorney review the lease with the county and the foundation. But I don't know if that was more of a courtesy or, but we'll get that resolved as quickly as possible because I definitely need to know that.
And that will go directly to Plateau once you figure that out.
Yeah.
That's all I have. Unless you guys have any questions.
Any other discussion on housing? If not, we'll move on to academic affairs and talk to Mr. Hyde.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, you have my academic affairs month. And just to kind of branch off to what we started on earlier, as far as course offerings on the fall term, we have, or 2 weeks ago, we had 215 courses offered for the fall. And what that offering looks like is credit bearing, live face-to-face, online, dual credit, corrections, workforce, and community ed. And of that 215, 33% were corrections classes. And looking closely at some of the correction numbers coming in, the majority of those classes will end up making, and most of them are full in most capacity, which is wonderful. Presents some other problems with finding the instructors and getting that navigation figured out, but I think that speaks to the efforts of our enrollment team, Ms. Gonzalez and Chantel, actually going out, meeting with those students and those facilitators. And likewise for some of the credit bearing classes, dual credit classes, we've seen a tremendous increase with prereqs for nursing, which is not unusual. We're seeing, we've got our nursing program out there, or the schools understand the program, and they're well aware of the success we've had, so we're seeing increases in enrollment coming in the front door there. Also, our welding classes, we've seen an increase in that area, both for credit and for our workforce welding. So there's some really good news happening there, and again, I think that's part of the efforts of our student success team, our enrollment team, that office, and then our instructors reaching out and working with those areas as well. So some great successes. Other highlights, some of our goals this semester, we're gonna look at really the quality across all our modalities. Are we able to give our students in corrections the same resources we give our main campus students? And there's challenges in trying to do that. So our academic affairs team, they've been working on resources, different ways to get the resources to the students. Again, between corrections, dual credit, if we can meet that need and demonstrate that for our accreditors in the future, it's gonna help us expand, it's gonna help us with our site visits as we go through that phase. And I don't remember the next date. I think it's 2028 when we have the next partial visit on this campus. So all these efforts now that we make to put into bringing that quality up to the same instruction, it's gonna help us in the long term. Other things we're focusing on, again, we're working heavily with our student enrollment side and the ability to pull the data from our system. So for the first time, we're actually able to use a lot of this data. And to give you an example, the corrections area, we can understand how many books we're gonna need at each facility and start to track it, so that we can get the books out on time, but also we know how much we're spending against, and we can tell our partners on the other end what that looks like. So it's not this end of the year, oh, by the way, we spent, this amazing number of books on books and supplies. Teaching, improving the teaching quality. We're gonna be able to look specifically at Canvas, going into instructor Canvas shells, and look at what and how they're responding to students, and making sure that's the quality that the students need. We're in a time frame now in higher ed where being able to just upload an assignment and review it and say, oh, this is an A or a B. No, you need to be able to tell the students the how and the why, so that they understand, how you're grading and perceiving that assignment on a rubric level, but also what are you putting out to keep them going in the class. So a lot of efforts are being made in those areas. As far as resource areas, our ESL classes they've started. There's been many high-set tests already. We're seeing AccuPlacer tests come in from our high school partners. Again, we're able to test our high school students on campus, and then also give those resources to the counselors on their campuses. So I think that's helping with our overall enrollment increase in that area. Other highlights on the program level, some things I'm noticing, the small business management offerings showed a increase in demand, and I think that's more due to corrections students out there, because that's a degree that they can actually pursue as an associate of applied science in business admin. So we see an increased level in that enrollment, and like I said earlier, the gen eds seem to be increasing, whether the students are gonna stay here or transfer, so that's a good sign, and also for our nursing cohorts as well. And that's what I got. Any questions? Anything I can navigate?
Any questions for Mr. Kaiser?
these slides were excellent.
Thank you. Thank you.
They really, really did, show us a picture of what's going on.
There's a lot of
Appreciate that.
wonderful activity happening on this campus. Even today, if you guys had a chance to walk into the event of the student services area, it's full. And that's what we want on this campus. We want that experience. We've got instructors out there and staff meeting with students. We've got our resources from the community, and that kind of sets the tone for a brand new student that comes onto this campus. And it's so important to have that.
Absolutely. Well, that was a really good, presentation.
Thank you.
It was great. Anybody have any other questions for, Mr. Kaiser? And appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for all you do. Next is student services.
Mr. McVeigh.
Mr. McVeigh's not
Not
here.
Mr. McVeigh,
Ms. Gonzalez.
We look just a little different. He asked if I could please to present the annual enrollment report, which is in your packets. We did show over the last 3 year span, so 2023 to 2025, we had a 6.8% increase in undergraduate enrollment. We had a 29.8% increase in full-time undergraduate, which full-time means 12 or more credit hours. So any one student that is in 12 hours is considered an FTE or a full-time equivalent. At the 4-year level, it's 15 credit hours, so we always try to encourage students to hit the 15 mark as well. Workforce enrollment, we've had a 21.3% increase in enrollment there. On the second page of the report, there's a bar graph there that shows broken down the division between community ed, undergrad, and workforce. You'll notice a difference between AY 24 and AY 25. There's a decrease in the community education numbers from 400 to 100, but that's because of accurate accounting, and then we're also not counting gym memberships in that. It kind of padded the numbers a little bit, so that was removed, and so it's more accurate. The undergraduate, you can see between 24 and 25, we had a nice increase as well. On the third page of the report is just some additional information. Again, steadily increasing our numbers. So that is on the enrollment report. Do you have any questions on the enrollment?
So how do we increase the community participation, since we took off the
So
gym?
community ed is gonna be, community members that sign up, say, for ceramics classes or some of our silversmithing programs. It's also considered the summer adventure camp program in the summer for our youth. So there's a variety of different community-based offerings, courses that we could provide to bring people in. These are going to be people that are considered not to be degree seeking. They're just taking a class for enrichment, for personal fulfillment type of things. So anyone who comes in that's non-degree and takes any one of our classes would be considered community ed. And so it's really just promoting that and recruiting people into the courses that we offer.
Well, it's a good report, and I like seeing the increases.
Yes,
It's
it's
great.
always great to see the increases.
Anybody have any questions for Ms. Gonzalez?
I wanted just to add, I think this is, all the numbers aren't gonna look great, but I think that they're more accurate now than we've seen in 5-6 years maybe. And I would credit that to, last year, Mr. McVeigh, Ms. Gonzalez, Larry Wickham, digging in and making sure that the numbers were transferring correctly. Enrollment went back and kind of went through all the files and made sure we had everybody entered correctly, all the relevant data, because if you have something missing, it doesn't pull. And then Ms. Chang has just come in and has really stepped in to pull that data and do the reporting. And so some numbers are not going to look great compared to previous years, but I think right now we're seeing more accurate data than we have. That's just my view.
Yeah, we're fortunate to be at a point where we're able to clean up the data and make it accurate and use the system with our training to use the system to actually reflect what's in the system instead of transferring it to a spreadsheet and then calculating it that way. So we're utilizing the system for what it's intended for.
That's
So
great.
it's-
Police reports are really good. Appreciate all the work y'all do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And there is some additional reporting that was done. Josh provided just various areas within our department, enrollment.
Chantel and I went out to all 10 prison facilities in the state of New Mexico over a 2-week period. And like we said, enrolled almost 400 students so far. Advisors are working really closely with students, working on retention efforts now, financial aid processing. For athletics, we continue to work on the new practice arena, hosting, where we held a interview for a golf coach this morning. Student life, lots of activities. Again, like Joel said, we have student orientation today, and then this evening the students get to go to a pool party and burgers at the Elks. So that's part of the welcome back semester kickoff. And then there's also Yvonne included some items from marketing that he's created in the report as well. So, stand for any
Any
questions.
other questions?
Thank you.
Next is the financial report.
So, Ms. R's gonna be here, since we changed the date to the meeting, but, I or Mr. Martinez will try to answer any questions. I would talk about the financial report. I feel like we're moving fast, even with the audit. I feel like we're still ahead of where we were last year at this point. But, we gotta give them time with the audit and the changing from year to year to get everything posted. And so, it doesn't reflect like I said, the insurance is the big first deal. We also had to return $118,000 in workforce money, and we didn't get that return until after July 1st. So that's that $118,000 negative in state appropriations. But, our expenses are still running, below budget. Multiple factors in that, you always got positions that need to be filled. We really tried, I know Mr. Kaiser and Dr. Edwards worked to find a early childhood education teacher. We had 2 different ones that we thought were gonna take it, and then they backed out. So, this semester, we're not gonna spend that full amount. We might come up with someone for the spring semester, or it may be next fall before we get one. And so we're still gonna get those classes covered through adjuncts. So, that's a number that's gonna show in our budget, or our expenditures. It's gonna be less than our budget. Math, Dr. Kotz, is fully intends to be done after this fall semester, and the same thing. We've had 1 or 2 math instructors, I think, that we thought we had, and then they backed out. So, we're still gonna get things covered, but each of those, as they happen, that could be money that we save, which is a good thing, but it's a little more stressful for Mr. Kaiser and Dr. Edwards. We're still, I think, and Ms. Gonzalez may have mentioned this, they're interviewing for a recruiter, hoping to get that filled, but for right now, we don't have anybody in that position. All that tied together, the year-to-date report for July, it's not complete, but we're still watching expenditures. You know, we're not gonna start spending money that we didn't spend before, or is not absolutely what we feel like is essential for the operation of the college. So, hopefully, well, my intention is we'll have those numbers caught up in August. Any questions? Oh, I would add too, I know that $60,000 line of credit or CD comes up occasionally. The latest word we heard from U.S. Department of Ed is that we would be back on probation with them, which I didn't know we were off probation. Ms. Gonzalez said we were, but we're on a 2-year renewal, kind of, is what we're on, and now we're on probation. So basically that means we have to pay out our financial aid before we draw down. However, that's what we've done for the past 12 or 15 years, maybe. And so that doesn't have necessarily an effect on us. We do have, and I'm hoping that we can just carry that CD and say, here's our line of credit, and then go on. Again, my hope and my expectation, intention is to get the 26 audit done before March 31st, so that at least that's not even a consideration anymore. We're completely caught up with U.S. Department of Ed, and then the focus will be on the 27 audit, which the state auditors already said they're going to do, and get it done by the November 1st deadline. So,
All right. This is an action item. If there is any questions for the.
Mine's just more of a comment. I trust you and I know you're working. I just want to publicly state again that we didn't have a finance meeting this month. In the finance report that we were given for our packet, you're basically telling us don't look too close.
yeah, I understand.
There's no check register. There's no, you say we're managing expenses, but it's our duty to make sure that's going on. So we're working on a total 100% trust.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure that it's
Yeah.
documented that when we approve the financial report, we're not approving a report that we can actually look at and say, good job, guys. We're approving our trust in Dr. Moss, and I'm all for that. I just want to be clear that these documents aren't how we keep track of where we're at financially. So that being said, I move we approve the financial report as presented.
I second.
Got a second, motion and a second?
Mr. Rose,
Yes.
Mr. Box,
Yes.
Ms. Gutierrez,
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty,
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson.
Yes.
I just want to make one comment. We do not have the financials like we want, but we do have cash, keeping track of cash. Our cash is good, and we're paying our bills. Next, Mr. Martinez.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Some of this
Slightly repetitive, but I'll go into a little bit more detail. Dr. Moss had brought up some of it. So since the last meeting, Dr. Moss and I went to ENMU to present our capital outlay summary hearings. With that, there was 2 different projects, and since we kind of have this all pre-approved by the board, it may again be repetitive, but just for the minutes, again, we requested $2.3 million for in addition to the $4 million that's been appropriated from federal funds to build a new wind turbine. We also requested $180,000 for safety and security improvements, which included security cameras, the camera hubs, and all the technical stuff, the NVRs, everything needed to build out the system needed on the technical side for security cameras and door access for all classrooms and offices. That went well. As stated by Dr. Moss, I submitted additional follow-up information to questions that were asked during that presentation. We met that deadline, submitted actual quotes for things that they had requested, some follow-up information as far as our operations and maintenance budget versus the overall total budget that we have. So to give an example, we had roughly a little over $10 million in expenses for last fiscal year budget, and the O&M, you cover salaries, benefits, supplies, everything to run the operations and maintenance division, grounds, custodial, cost us roughly about, I think it was around 5% of the total budget. So one thing that was recommended in upcoming budgets is maybe move some of those funds from the actual budget into BR&R, building replacement and renewal. So that's something to consider moving forward with the budget. Moving on to the insurance project for the roofing for multiple buildings. At the time of this report, I was requesting a wage determination from New Mexico Department of Workforce Solutions for that project. Since then, we have received that wage decision. It's been approved, and that's been forwarded on to the contractor. And now I'm just waiting for actual scheduling from the contractor to start. I'd expect that to happen hopefully within the next week or two for them to start on the roofing projects. We're also working with EPCOG, the Eastern Plains Council of Governments, to move forward with a grant agreement for the vehicle purchases. We've been in communication both with EPCOG and with HED, and the latest is submitting an email to Sandy Chancey at EPCOG requesting a template draft of a agreement for a fiscal agent and or letter of support. That way we could forward that to HED. So HED's obligations have been satisfied. That way HED could issue a grant agreement to us, and then the grant agreement is referenced in the contract for EPCOG. So back and forth trying to get that done, but we're moving forward with that. That's all I have in regards to capital projects. With the end of the previous fiscal year and start of new fiscal year, it's been extremely busy, issuing multiple purchase orders, requisitions, etc. Follow up with the appraisals for the property. Reached out for a follow up with Mr. Knight, and with that, he stated he expects about a turnaround of 2 weeks for the completion of those appraisals. So hopefully in 2 weeks we'll have the appraisals complete. And with that, I think I would go ahead and stand for any further questions on my report.
Any questions for Mr. Martinez?
I think I know the answer, but we're using EPCOG because we don't have current audit. We're using a financial person.
Not just current audits, but from HED, they've stated because we have repetitive audit findings. It's not just the fact of being caught up, it's the fact that some are being duplicated from years past. So yes, that's why we're having to go through EPCOG.
The $4 million or whatever that we got from the feds and these that you're requesting now, will we have to find fiscal agents for them too? $2.3 million for the one.
Potentially. Anything moving forward. So the most recent project that we had approved through the GEO bonds, if that passes through the vote in November, we'd have to have a fiscal agent for that. The one prior to that, since we already have the grant agreement, we're able to move freely. I'm working on that project. But unless we were to completely clear everything, being honest, I don't anticipate being able to do it on our own. If we do receive these funds, I'd imagine we'd have to go through a fiscal agent. But by the time these funds would be available for FY 27, 28, I do believe that we'd be caught up on audits. It's just at HED's determination. If there's any repeat findings, they still could make sure that we have to have a fiscal agent. It'd be up to HED.
Only because I know some other entities are using COG for their financial agent. At some point, COG's limited too. Do we have any other options that we can start developing a relationship with now to do our financial stuff?
I think there are other options, and from what I've been told, it's not so much that they're fronting money or anything. It's more oversight. It's making sure that we're following the processes that we need to. So yes, we would be able to reach out to other agents. One option, and I'm just saying, I'm assuming it would be an option, is like, say, the county. I know when I was at the city, there was discussion at one time of the county being the fiscal agent for different projects or whatnot. But yeah, for now, that's where we're going with it. I think we have a good working relationship with EPCOG. I'm familiar with them. So that's how they were chosen. And with each of these fiscal agents, there is fees attached with that for their time as well. So with EPCOG, it's a 3% administrative fee, and that's 3% of your grant. So if we have $150,000 for vehicles, we have to pay 3% of that amount to EPCOG to manage and administer. And I don't even think it's administration. I think we'll have to administer the project. It's just them being the fiscal agent.
That's definitely something we need to explore. I mean, like the county, I know I've heard from Ms. Gonzalez that they do not want to take anything on more because they already are taking on some stuff for the city or Main Street and some of those entities. And so that would definitely be something to follow up on.
Any other questions for Mr. Martinez? And the purchase order reports there.
And I do attach to my report, as usual, each month you have the purchase order report.
We also have the monthly reports and current fiscal year versus last fiscal year for the bookstore, for the fitness center, and for the dinosaur museum. We did have a decrease in revenue in July for the dinosaur museum, and we've discussed that at a previous meeting. That was based on having to go through inventory and getting things completed. But through that, we use it as a learning process. Inventory is going to be much easier moving forward. We've changed some internal processes, and we are open, business back to usual. Things are going extremely well. We're doing great for August, above what we typically do compared to last year. So everything's back on track and moving well on all the auxiliary services.
Any other questions for Mr. Martinez? Now we'll go right into the
NMDOT
Thank you.
contract.
So
So
before
before
you
you
have
have
a cooperative agreement between Mesalands Community College and NMDOT for the local government road fund co-op. And I'm extremely excited. This is actually pretty rare to get this amount of money offered through this grant agreement to the college. I believe we are one of the only colleges that has been awarded funding within this district this year. And I'm really excited. We had written up the grant in a way where it's pretty open-ended. We originally had applied for funds strictly for one area, going out to the rodeo practice arena and having access to that location. With that, we're going to go ahead and add some other projects based on the funding that was awarded and allowed by NMDOT. So the total project cost comes out to $307,260, and that's going to be a road from Quay Road 63, from Cemetery Road up to the rodeo arena practice facility. And then also with these funds, we're able to resurface the asphalt parking lots on campus and restripe them. And if there's still funds available, there's also funding allowable for the parking lot lights that are within those parking lots. Again, this is very rare to receive this amount of funds through the LGRF funds, and I honestly say I don't know out of all the years I worked at City if we even received this much. So we're very, very happy to be offered these amount of funds.
Are they going to have funds? We're going to do anything for the road?
To the coaches.
So
It's incorporated to that, but the main purpose is for, yes, yes. The main goal is to get it to the practice facility, but within the scope, we do go up to that corner where it cuts off to the rodeo coach's house.
Because I was under the impression that
Sometimes he has to have four-wheel drive to get out of that house, so.
Correct.
So
So
yes,
yes,
we
that
will
will-
include that up to that, yes.
That's really where this all started, was that road was getting bad. And we reached out to the county to see about getting some work done. And then I think it was you that mentioned that grant, or you or Mark one, and that's kind of what led to all this.
Well, and I talked to the district. They had a meeting here Thursday, or not Thursday, Tuesday, whatever, either Tuesday or Wednesday. But anyway, he said, I thanked him for the grant, and he said, yeah, we'll get this grant agreement, get the money to you, and says then apply next. Keep applying. So
And
It
it
is,
is,
though, like I said, it is fairly rare to get this amount of money, so it's nice to be able to get that, because we were already looking into resurfing and striping the parking lots. That was a need for us. It was funny, Chester and I were already working on it. Dr. Moss had brought it up in one meeting. Could you get a quote for this? Like, oh, we already have it. We're already researching this project, so it fits in perfectly with this. There is a 25% match, and that match is $76,815. Since we are a higher ed institution, we are not eligible for the match waiver. I had filed the paperwork, I requested it, and I received confirmation that we aren't eligible both through phone and in writing. But we do have funds available to meet that match.
And this has, we have until December of 27 to complete these projects. And so kind of along that, we thought about using some BRNR funds. I'm not sure that those would be eligible for that, but we also have been told by HED, we need to be thinking, we have to get in the practice of moving, I think this come out in the capital outlay hearing. We need to be sure that each year we're separating some ING funding to go into capital improvements. And so this would be a great start of that, whether it's 40,000 this year and 40,000 next year. We'll have to do a bar. But that would also meet what we were told at the capital outlay hearing.
any other questions on this
Just one,
cooperative agreement?
I've got one. The original application shows the road going from by the cemetery to the coach's house and out to Dr. Corey's. That's what we applied for. We're not doing that. We're just gonna go to the coach's house, maybe.
So
We could go to the coach's house, but the main focus point, because it serves a broader audience, is the rodeo practice arena. But yes, with that, we are eligible to take it to the coach's house as well.
And we were doing the entire L, but also an access point to the practice arena, right? That was in the
So if
original.
I remember
That
the
was in the
latest drawing that I submitted to DOT, it's going to be off the cemetery road. You're going to go to the north. There's going to be a turnoff to go to the east to the practice arena. We'll have to move the fence and put in some gates and do some work on that. And then it goes north and it proceeds to the coach's house. And the one I turned in, it does go to the eastward Dr. Of course, so you have 2 points of access to get down to.
Okay, so in this, I just want to know, what is that the plan to do that?
Yes,
It'll go through as submitted to DOT, with the addition to these additional projects with the extra funding for parking lot resurfacing,
Surfacing,
restriping,
restriping.
and then.
I was just asking Mark to make sure that we weren't to do the other things we want to do. We're not downsizing from what we submitted. And if we submitted it, are they going to hold us to that portion anyways? And that's almost twice the distance than it is just to the practice arena. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
And you said we were going to the practice. Might go down to the coaches, so that's why I asked.
So I'll have to look at it again just to make sure, but in my opinion, we definitely have to get to the practice arena, and yes, it's a benefit to get to the coach's house, but I don't envision having a second entrance for the sake of just having a second entrance so we could serve on-campus and students better, if that makes sense.
So we submitted that.
I'm not sure I'm following.
No, I'm following. I'm following what you're saying. So we asked them for money to do this project, and we told them why it needed to be done. I'm not being critical. Don't misunderstood. But now that they funded it, I just want to make sure we don't mess up a relationship, because now we would just as soon do the parking lot, because we didn't apply for the parking lot.
Correct.
No,
No,
I
I
absolutely respect that. I'm just saying, if it's a second entrance, we built a project in an effort or a scope to make it a project worthwhile to a certain dollar threshold, right? To make a certain amount. But I see serving a greater population, more students, staff, and faculty by removing an extra way into a house there's already going to be one entrance to the house, but I don't know if we technically need a paved road going out towards Dr. Corey's, towards that area. You already have one entrance going.
Is that the plan though that we submitted to DOT to do
If
all
we
that?
have to
If
stick
it's
to
a
the
plan
plan
of
of
DOT,
DOT,
there's
there's
no
no
issue
issue.
with that, we'll do it.
My point. So maybe it doesn't make any difference. So who's gonna make the decision that we're gonna change the project? It's okay if you're gonna make it, or Dr. Moss is gonna make it, but we approved an application. I just wanna make sure that if we vary from that we don't mess up
Oh, no,
this.
absolutely. Any discussion.
With that, I discussed that directly with District 4 before we even brought it to the table.
I agree with
Mr. Lafferty, that we submitted a project and they funded it. We needed to,
At least get that part done.
that project should be done.
Well,
Completely.
I agree that second road should have been in the project, but that's how it was brought to us. I agree that in Jim's opinion, we shouldn't be building a private road to the coach's house. But that's the way it was brought to us, and that's what we approved. So I just don't want to see us change our mind unless the whole board decides, let's cut it off there and we can use the funds somewhere else, and DOT approves it. Great, if that's the thing, as long as it comes back to us and we do our thing. The other question, so the $76,000, have we identified that in our budget?
Well, no, because we submitted the budget before we even knew about the grant amount. Again, this is trust, but I think easily over between now and December of 2027, we can identify that 70-some thousand dollars out of those ING funds that we get. And again, that goes back to what HED said we need to start doing. And where their comment came from was, we're asking for capital outlay money. Okay, and what they're saying is, what are you contributing to capital outlay above and beyond your BR&R or what we give you in capital outlay? And so I think that the 76,000 is definitely doable, and it's a start on what they're saying. And that goes back to, and my view of a budget is very different than a lot of people's, but it has to be very flexible. And so, there are expenses that we're not going to incur definitely this semester and potentially next semester that are in our budget. And I think Ms. Chang, Ms. RS and I and Mark have already had a discussion about, we'd really like to get a bar to you all maybe November or somewhere in there. And so that it would reflect these amounts and show, okay, we need to have 50,000 in this year's budget for this project and 26,000 in the next year. We can adjust our faculty salaries amount from whatever we can cut that down to by 100,000 or so. And so there are plans for that, but we don't have a bar
No,
yet.
and I wasn't looking for that. What I'm looking for is your recommendation that I'll cover that 76,000 and not cut some other program. That's all I'm looking for. Because we don't know if we have $76,000.
I feel confident of that, but
Okay.
you're right. I do not have proof, but that's the way I've been operating the last 3 years too.
Any other questions on this cooperative agreement?
Mr. Chair, I would add, it's part of the
Agreement
agreement.
in the package, but there is a resolution as Exhibit C, just to be aware that you're also approving a resolution along with that.
and see the resolution. It's a very.
Last, Exhibit C.
It's the last page. Kind of looks like the first page, but it says resolution. There's no number on it, it just says resolution. Exhibit A and Exhibit B. C. C.
the cooperative agreement and resolution with the NMDOT.
I'll move that we approve the cooperative agreement with New Mexico DOT for the road project at the practice rodeo arena.
Second. Got a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Primrose,
Yes.
Mr. Box,
Yes.
Mr. Terrace,
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson,
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty.
Yes. And I believe we also need one for the resolution, is that right? Or not?
It was all together. I just want to make you all aware
Okay.
that it's part of that agreement.
All right. Next, we have requisitions for Mexico Gas, City of Tucumcari, and Excel Energy.
So per the state procurement code, utilities
Are
are exempt.
But at Mesalands, we do require a purchase order for every single purchase. With that in mind, these do accumulate more than the $20,000 each year, which require board approval. That's the reasoning behind these requisitions. So there's one for New Mexico Gas Company, City of Tucumcari, and Excel Energy. And at this time, I'd request your approval.
I make a motion, we approve, the, purchase requisitions for New Mexico Gas, City of Tucumcari, and Excel Energy. Second.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Primrose,
Yes.
Mr. Box,
Yes.
Mr. Terrace,
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson,
Yes.
and Mr. Lafferty.
Yes.
All right. Next is the annual report for the Dinosaur Museum. Ms. Monahan. All right.
Thank you for letting me come and tell you what a great year we had at the museum. The most important is the gross sales. Next slide. Next slide.
Oh.
You're okay. So we're up here.
Oh,
Too far.
another one.
Right there.
Okay, right there. As you can see, we made a lot more this past year than the year before. We have an increase of 17.21% in our last fiscal year. And that was before the Route 66, a lot of celebration about that. Next slide are the taxable items, and I just put that in there to see what we take from our profit in sales tax, admission. We are looking at possibly eliminating the coin from our payment system and just going over to all dollars, so that we will then have, we're just looking at it, nothing's done yet. Because what we found is people are, the people who use the coins are less and less. They usually go, here, just keep the rest. And so if we go to a dollar system, where if it's $6.51 on our system, will go up to $7 and then back out the tax. Does that make sense to you?
And then back out the tax.
And then back out the tax for, through the business office for audit. Okay? Did I explain that right, Mark? Yeah? Oh, good. Okay, next. I included this one just to get an idea of what our cost of goods is. So what we make overall versus without admissions, which is almost 50% of our cost. So we, on a cost basis, we make 75%, and without admissions, are over that 50% mark, which is good because everybody has been raising their prices because of tariffs and the cost of living. So we're keeping up with it, and our visitors have not complained about our pricing. They're buying more and more. It's amazing. And at the bottom, I just did a price break for our 5 most purchased items. So you can see admissions and toys. Our apparel does very well. I'd like to get, because we're out of the Shanks collection as far as being able to sell it, I'd like to purchase more minerals because of not only of the Shanks collection, but we have another collection going in the fall. Next. Okay. Been very, very busy at the museum. Not only are we making money, but we are doing a lot of activities, which includes the tours. We have tour buses and schools, local schools, schools from Texas, schools from across the country that stop by on their way to visiting colleges with seniors. So we did lose one of our volunteers this past year, so we're gonna have to figure out help with the tours. We had 2 murals put in. We finished the petrified wood display. The Marcia Heckel mineral display came in. It will be presented in the exhibit hall when we get the electricity connected to it. And I remodeled the Life Over Time display, which is our largest display, but it hadn't been done in 15 years and it was due a remodel. So next, please. Okay, this is our gift shop mural. It took, we thought it was gonna take 4 to 6 weeks. It took 3 months. The artist was in there. Everything you see in there is hand painted by him, Domingo, and the quality is exceptional. I gave him figurines that I wanted incorporated in the mural, and it covers not just the Triassic, but it covers all the different epochs of animals, of dinosaurs. Then back, oh, up one. On the front, other way, there. On the front of the museum, the same artist hand sketched all those figures that he took from our exhibit hall, actual exhibits, and brought it out and hand sketched each one, and then he stained it and sealed it. And that took probably another 3 weeks. But he's an amazing artist. Then the next one, this shows, if you see on the right-hand side, we just got our building repainted, refinished and repainted, which was great. It makes our building look fresh and new. The front was entirely done. And so we really want to thank Mark for making that happen. It was great. Then the Marcia Heckel's mineral collection, it came in and it was a huge undertaking. We had all those people, including 2 of Mark's daughters, come in and help us. We had to transport it, unpack it, catalog it. For the 624 specimens, I made individual identification cards for, had to match them up with the right minerals. So we put them in there for safekeeping, and Axel needed his classroom back. So when we get the electricity, and we're putting it in by the diorama, and it will be staggered columns, allowable, letting the wheelchairs go through all the columns, but each one will be individually lit. downwards towards the minerals. And if you have time to come over and take a look at those minerals, they're spectacular. They really are. Next. Okay, this is the Life Over Time display that I remodeled. And that was, each one of those panes of glass had to be taken out. Everything was re-identified, recatalogued. I put some more specimens in there, and I made the print larger because if I can't see it, nobody can see it. So it's very readable now. Next. And I finally got the petrified wood display finished, and that is in part, I had a very generous donation given directly to me so that I could buy all the petrified wood that we needed to complete the display. And there's pieces from all over the world, some very rare pieces. We have 3 green petrified wood pieces, which is the rarest you can get, and we have those. And then community activities. I guess we can go to the pictures. Okay, one of them was I have a joint marketing program with the Desert Inn. Al Patel has been wonderful. He places each one of these cards in each one of the rooms, and we have them then bring them in for one free adult in their party, and or they can bring it in and have 10% off at the gift shop. And usually they want 10% off the gift shop because it allows them to buy more. All psychological. So that was one of our marketing programs. And the next one, that is a dinosaur egg. Inside the dinosaur egg is a baby dinosaur skeleton. And I placed buckets of eggs in about 8 of the major restaurants and hotel motels. And they very graciously said, yes, we will pass them out, tell them what it's for. They bring the egg to the museum, they get one person in their party, entrance for free, and then everybody else pays. And it's been a very, very popular marketing program. It's gotten us a lot of people, which I thank all the vendors in town for participating. And that's it. Thank you.
Well, I got to go this summer and visit my great-granddaughter. Everything was very excellent shape. Very, very good.
It's
Appreciate it.
a great job, first of all, because
Very
everybody
good.
comes out of the exhibit hall surprised, overwhelmed, because it is beyond. People tell me it's better than the Smithsonian. They tell me that it's better than the natural history museums because we have displays that they can interact with, and all of the identification cards are easy to read and understand. And just one more thing about inventory. Mark was luckily got to participate in doing inventory at the museum this year. And he saw how antiquated we have been for the last, 26 years. It hasn't changed. And because he was involved and saw what we needed to come into today, he has gotten, and we are getting equipment so that inventory will be much easier from now on. So, thank you, Mark. Appreciate it.
Any other
The questions for Ms. Monahan? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Let's see. No report from the faculty. You have the minutes for staff senate for August the 12th.
Staff and Faculty Senate did meet, last Monday or Tuesday, but not much, mainly organization and setting up the future meetings and stuff. So hopefully they'll be here in September to do a report.
Trustees' comments, or do any trustees have a comment?
Not as a trustee comment, but I do want to thank Ron Warnick for sending that article the other day. I didn't know anything about it, but then after Ron sent it, someone else from another college in New Mexico sent me a link of the same article information on Fox News. And then the next day, I got somebody from Missouri near where I'm from, sent me a link of the local paper reporting on that information. So it was national news, and doesn't change what we still got to do here. But it was nice to have that recognition.
Recognition. Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ron. Any more trustee comment? I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So move.
I second.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Yes.
Mr. Primrose,
Yes.
Mr. Box,
Yes.
Mr. Terrace,
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson,
Yes.
and Mr. Lee.
Yes.
Entertain a motion to reconvene from executive session.
So moved.
Got a motion
Or second.
and a
whatever.
second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Primrose,
Yes.
Mr. Box,
Yes.
Ms. Gutierrez.
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson,
Yes.
and Mr. Lafferty.
Yes.
All right. There was no action taken in executive session. No correspondence. See the important dates. The 17th is already gone. Bloodmobile on August 26th. Labor Day holiday is September 7th. Nursing ACE and EN accreditation is September 8th through the 10th. Constitution Day, and Lieutenant Governor Morales will be here on the 10th. Calendar. And our next meeting is scheduled for September 15th.
That'll be
I,
real quick. Huh?
yeah, I will not be here, but y'all can have a, y'all moved all of the meetings because of my schedule.
So
I'll just-
September 15th doesn't work for me now. No, me and Richard needs to be here, but if we need to work on a different date, do you have a different date?
We might talk to Dr. Moss and send an email, possibly moving that to a different date. If that's okay with everybody, I'll be gone that whole week, 15th. So
So the week before or the week after?
either one.
Okay. I'll talk with them.
Okay, appreciate it. I don't have any training, and so now I entertain a motion for adjournment.
I saw second.
Motion and 2 seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Primrose,
Yes.
Mr. Box,
Yes.
Ms. Gutierrez.
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson,
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty.
Yes.